Hey guys, how's it going? It's me again. As you can see, I'm kind of on a new system now. I'm on Linux. It is Linux 24.04 LTS. I kind of had this whole crazy couple of weeks here, so forgive me for not recording. I don't know what happened, but apparently Windows started just crashing all of a sudden, and then I realized that there's some sort of bug that's going around that is like one-shotting NVMe's. So I ended up switching to Linux permanently, kind of, because anytime I go into Windows, it just kind of crashes on me. So, but Linux is pretty stable, and it is working for me. So that's what I'm recording on here. As you can see, I got my nice purple terminal here with nvtop, which is a bit different, kind of like system monitor, but for your GPU. I did go, just a quick update, I did go into like building a whole different computer as well. What you're seeing here is still my Ryzen 7950X build with 192 gigs of RAM and one 3090 now because I had to take the other one out. And but I do have here this one, which is our great and powerful other build. So as you can see here, it is one monitor, but I gotta have two computers hooked up to it. So yeah, so that's happening. And the other build is a Xeon 8480 ES chip, which is like $200 for me. So that was pretty good. The RAM on it cost me a fortune, but everything else was manageable. The motherboard was pretty expensive, 1K or something. The RAM was way more expensive at 4,000, I believe. But honestly, there was no other choice. It was, either Xeon or Epic, and the Epic system, the processor is more expensive. Whereas here I got 56 cores, 112 threads. And it does run the new DeepSeek 3.1 V3.1 at around 7 tokens a second on the CPU. Not the AMX not enabled or anything. It's just straight CPU power. Yeah, so that's the other build. Just wanted to mention I'm kind of like in between two computers. I do some tips if you are going this route and trying to build, or you have like a server, or you want to connect two computers. I found Barrier is very, very good. Just a quick shout out to Barrier. It is free on GitHub. You just have to go ahead and enable it, one computer on the other, because right now the mouse is actually hooked up to another computer, and it's like that's a free kind of KVM thing here going on. So all you got to do is like basically put in your IP server, which is gonna show up on the other computer, and the screen name, make sure it's the same. And on the other one, just click configure the server and put in the screen name right next to it. Also make sure you are on the same network, and make sure you disable SSL, right? So just disable SSL and it will work. You can basically hook up one keyboard and mouse to one computer, and you can drag it between two different computers. It's pretty seamless. So that's a pretty good tip I've found. Also, do not ever upgrade graphics cards on Linux, apparently, is what I found. Because first I put it in like a 1080 into my Xeon CPU or build. So I just put like a really old graphics card. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's working, but what happens if I put a 3090? And so what happened was I got a black screen, and I was fighting that, basically trying to boot and get drivers installed. Thank you, Sonnet. Thank you for helping me, my AI overlord, with all the coding that I had to do in that black screen. because I am not a Linux user. So this is literally my second week using Linux. Okay, so what else did I want to mention in my current journey? The other thing I want to mention is there are so many ways to run the AI models on your computer, and it really depends on like what you are trying to, what are your strengths of your server or computer. And so sometimes you have like a lot of GPUs and you're running on GPUs, so you're going to use like VLLM, which is a bit harder to set up, but it's still doable. And yeah, what else? I realized Docker is your friend. So Docker is amazing, and all you have to do is just, search up your image, and you'll pretty much get an image of anything that you can run locally. So one of them, you can like search up any agentic framework from GitHub. They're usually already there. The other thing I wanted to mention, some of the things to get it started, is you probably want to keep restarting your computer. So if something doesn't work on Linux, you kind of have to restart. So you install something, you restart. You do an update, you restart. You change a setting, you got to restart. So basically, restart button is your friend on Linux. Is what I wanted to mention. This is like, I guess it's turning into like a random Linux commentary for some reason, but anyway, we just wanted to keep going with it. I just want to mention that because there are different kinds of software on Linux versus Windows, you're basically open to more AI workloads. So you can get like VLLM, you can get llama.cpp, ikllama.cpp, there's LangChain. You got your standard, OLlama and LM Studio, which is just like download and install with an app. You just go to you download it, you right click, you make it an executable, or just like basically ask any AI to tell you what to do, and it'll basically do it, or you'll basically follow the instructions. And everything's pretty much the same on Linux as it is Windows. There are a lot of different advantages of every single different kind of like system to run AI, unfortunately, which is like really confusing right now, and there isn't really a best one for whichever purpose you're using. You just kind of have to like figure out which one to use. So like right now I'm using LM Studio because it's just easier to set up things on it. Like if you got a new model coming out, you're probably gonna want like an easy download and get it running kind of situation, rather than trying to figure out all the commands, optimizing it, and making sure that it runs like efficiently on your system, as efficient as possible, right? So you're probably going to get like half the performance probably on LM Studio versus everything else. But you do get performance, and you get to play with the new model basically pretty quickly, because it is so easy to just go search up the model here and click and install it. And then you just run it basically, and you get access to it. The other thing you have access to always is the MCP servers. You got your parameters and everything like that. So these are things that you do have access to in LM Studio, so that it is advantageous. Whereas some other frameworks, you kind of have to do a lot more coding to set them up. So for instance, like I've been trying to do the ikllama recently, and there's no API server there, so you'd have to wrap it in a Docker container, and you kind of have to know what the heck that is first of all to even get there. So it is more complex. If you just get Linux and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, probably your best bet is just get LM Studio, play around there. Yeah, and it'll pretty much help you. Especially, I would recommend the Qwen 3 Coder 30B model, A3B Instruct. And just make sure that is the coder model. So So if you have a 24 gig graphics card, this will work for you. You basically quantize everything, set to 32,000, offload to GPU, and you're gonna get some nice results there. As you can see, it does search the web here, and I do wanna, I guess, kind of go through how to set that up just a tiny bit. First off, you do need Docker. So the way you do install it is going to their website, and unfortunately it is more painful than I remember because I had to fight it a bit. But basically, you got to go to their website. You have to find the Docker link to download it, and I'll probably list this in the video just so you can click that. But basically, once you get it downloaded, right, and installed, you're gonna get this. Already moved it. Sorry. You're gonna get this like window, Docker desktop window, and make sure you restart basically, because if you see it installed and you say, oh, it's test working, but it's actually not working, all you have to do is restart, and then it will get to this point where you are in the containers, images, etc. And there is the new version here, which is called the MCP tools, and all you have to do is basically you download like DuckDuckGo or something, right? And once you download DuckDuckGo, you will see here the MCP server. So to enable this in LM Studio, what you would have to do is you click this copy button, and then what you do is you go to, let's say, here, in integrations, you will click install edit MCP, and you're going to copy and paste over this, right? So once you copy and paste over this, this will save that MCP server as a plugin here, and you can go ahead. So let's say I do it again. Okay, I'll do it again. Here you go. So you click and copy and paste that, and then all you have to do is enable it. So you got another DuckDuckGo extension here to go ahead and use with your model. So unfortunately now I have a lot of different ones that I enabled, which I don't need. Here we go. Let's just go ahead and close that. So now I have DuckDuckGo enabled again, and as you can see, if you get an agentic coder model here, what it does is it's going to go ahead and search through the websites, same as you're going to go ahead and do it in like on the online versions. All it does is pull information, as you can see here, through the model, and you do need like a bit of tokens to go ahead and parse that information, because this does go ahead and fill up your context length. So you do want to have at least 32,000 or 16,000 minimum to get a question in that it goes and searches on the web for. There are models that obviously go to 262,000, so that it is pretty good regarding that portion of it. And it does go ahead and keeps calling it to get the information required to answer the question, which I think is one of the better ways of answering questions rather than just memorizing the answer. It tries to find the answer online and then calls it and then reads it and then gives you the answer, right? So in this case, I didn't get a full answer, but it did go ahead and try to find the answers here, right? So those are some of the ways I feel that you might want to look into using your local LM Studio AI. And again, you can plug this into like other frameworks like agents, you got your CLIs, like all of that stuff is great. It is more complex, it takes more time to set up. So if you do have an offline, at least agent there that can search the web, whereas if you don't want to pay for it, if you want it for free, this is the way to do it, because everything else, if you have ChatGPT, let's say, it does search the web, you're not going to do it for free. if you have like some sort of, I don't know. That's what I think. And obviously it's going to go into more control. You have more control of which kind of agents you're building, which kind of AI you're basically using. But for now, it is not there where you're benefited as much from using it locally as opposed to online, because the models online are subsidized so much that you are basically doing it cheaper online versus offline, until a point where they do have to make money and they jack up the prices, right? And then you do kind of want it offline because it would be cheaper to just get a graphics card, put it in your system, and run your AI off of it. Anyway, that is, all the rambling here that I'm doing. I just wanted to mention some of this to you, what has currently been going on, and